Let's ask you about Louis Moult first of all. What the state of play is with him.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, in the last game against Motherwell, Louis damaged his shoulder. He's since had a scan on it and an X-ray, and showing some ligament damage. So we'll be having to go without Moulty for a few weeks, unfortunately, and it's a major disappointment for him and for us as a team because we've not long got him back after his previous injury. So yeah, it's a bitter blow. It's an area of the pitch that we're light in anyway. Just having the three strikers. So on Sunday we go into the game with two senior strikers available.
I mean, I know injuries are part and parcel of the game, but you get some players that don't seem able to buy a break, and Louis Moult this season seems to fall into that category.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know every team goes through little spells throughout the course of a season, missing key players, but I do feel that we've had, a really unfortunate time right from the beginning of the season, to be honest, with the amount of key players that we've had to go without. Obviously Sybil's been out for a long stretch. Trapanovsky, Ross Graham, Ross Docherty, Moulty. We've never had a fully fit squad to choose from, and with us not being the biggest squad anyway, it makes life very difficult when you want to try and rotate or try and freshen things up. So these are the challenges that we face. I think it's always important just to focus on the ones that you do have available, and I believe we've got a good group of players available for the game on Sunday, and hopefully we can get things right.
Any other team news?
No, pretty much that's it in terms of the injury front. Obviously Sybil is out for a significant period of time. It'll be mid to end of January before we see him back. And in Moulty, it's just a case of waiting to see how bad the actual injury is before we can put a time frame on that.
Turn to the game now, Jim. They're coming up here, top of the table, unbeaten in the league. I think it's 10 years since the last time United beat Celtic at Tannadice. Is there any reason why you can't be the team to beat them in the domestic front this weekend?
Well, I always think you have to go into every game with a positive mindset and a positive attitude, and that's what we're going to try to do. We're very aware of the fact how good a team Celtic are, and you talk about how tight our squad is, but the strength and depth that Celtic have is extraordinary. Brendan Rodgers can change 11 players and go with a new 11 the following game, and it's almost like for like in terms of international quality. So we know how big a challenge it's going to be. Nobody up to now domestically has been able to beat them, but of course there's always a chance. We have to believe that we can cause an upset, but in order to do that, a lot of things need to fall into place on the day. Discipline out of possession is probably the biggest factor. That Celtic are probably going to have large spells of being on the ball and trying to deny them space. Concentration levels need to be high, and then when we do get the opportunity to play, we have to be brave on the ball, because they're going to press you with great intensity, but we have to try and exploit areas that we feel where we can cause them one or two problems.
I guess it goes without saying, prior to the last game, and you touched on this yourself in your post-match interview, defensive solidity has been a real key plank of the fine start to the season that you've had. You need to get that back this weekend, don't you?
Most definitely, yeah. We can't give up the kind of opportunities against Celtic like we did against Motherwell, because Celtic will punish you, and we've put that down to a bad day at the office, because consistently now for the majority of the season the defenders have been excellent and the shape of the team has been really good, and that's why we're one of only 3 or 4 teams in the league, I think, with a positive goal difference. And given the fact that we conceded 4 goals against Motherwell and still have one of the best goal defensive records in the league, I think goes to show how good those players have done. But we're not we're understanding of the fact that this is going to be probably the toughest challenge that we've faced all season. We haven't played Celtic yet this year. They ask so many different questions of you all over the park, and it's a game where we have to be at our best in order to get a positive result.
You've rightly never been carried away when I've been asking you about the great start to the season and the league position. And I guess when you look at this run of 6 games or so that's coming up, you can see why. Celtic twice in those 6 games, Aberdeen and at Tannadice, you're off to play Dundee at Dens Park. How key a period is this? And this could be the kind of one of those little defining runs of games of the campaign, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, they're all difficult games. However you dress it up, you know, each team causes you, asks you different questions and plays, you know, different systems, and you know you've got to be at your best most weeks to get wins in this league because of how competitive the league is. But you know, we're focusing on Sunday at the moment. We're well aware of how difficult the fixtures are coming up. A lot of games in a short period of time, which is going to test the squad to the maximum, especially with the kind of injuries that we have. But I'm confident that we can come through it in a positive fashion, and we have to believe that we're capable of doing so because, you know, we have had a brilliant start, and you know, we don't want that to fall by the wayside.
So, like, Celtic looked like they might have had like a little bit of a falter. Has that offered any sort of comfort to you heading into this weekend?
Well, I don't know if there's been too many games in the league where Celtic have been, you know, below par. Aberdeen obviously, you know, managed to take a really valuable point away from Parkhead on the day, but in the opening 45 minutes, you know, Celtic had 7 or 8 glorious opportunities, which on another day, you know, could have potentially went in at half time 3 or 4-0 up, and I don't think anybody would have argued. But I think what that Aberdeen fixture showed is that if you can stay in the game and give yourselves an opportunity, and when those goal scoring chances come along, if you're clinical enough, then you can come away with a positive result. So, you know, we have to believe that that's the case. We know the quality that Celtic have got, and the job that Brendan Rodgers has done is remarkable. I think you know, the League Cup win at the weekend there, his 10th trophy in his time as manager of Celtic is extraordinary. So, you know, they are the best team in the country right now, and I don't think anybody could argue with that. As I said, you know, every team has tried to win against them in the league up to now. Nobody's been able to do so, but we have to believe that we might be the team to do it.
And we are coming into a busy period, not just for football, but also outside of football. How are you and the team preparing for this run of games, and can this run of games maybe be categorised as the make or break for the rest of your season?
I wouldn't define it as make or break, but I do think it is a crucial period of the season. A lot of points to play for. You know, a lot of teams, I think, in false positions in the league as well. You know, some of the bigger teams down the bottom there. You know, an opportunity for those teams to put a run of results together as well. But you know, we try and just focus on ourselves. We haven't paid too much attention to the league table. You know, I've always spoke about, you know, getting to the end of January and seeing what the balance of play is then, and that would give you a clearer picture of how the season might pan out. But we've got some important results, some fixtures coming up. We have to pick up points. We have to try and get back to winning ways. As difficult as it's going to be on Sunday, we have to be positive going into it. People talk about it being, you know, a free hit and, you know, massive underdogs, but we can't look at it that way. You know, we're professionals at the end of the day, and we've got to try and come up with a plan that can enable us to get a positive result.
And just one more, what's top your Christmas list this year from Santa?
Just Christmas is my favourite time of year, and just spending as much time as possible with the family, as difficult as that's going to be with such a congested schedule. But no, just good old family time for me at this time of year is really important.
That's the bit that I always like. We were just saying to you, like, it's such a busy time. How do you juggle what is like a really busy time professionally, but also such an important time?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's the challenge that every manager and every professional sports person has to tackle. You know, all your friends and family are having a great time letting their hair down at this time of year, and we need to remain professional. But I believe it's worth it if you get the positive results at the end of it, and if we can come through this busy period still in the top half of the table, then those sacrifices that we make along the way will certainly be worthwhile.
Well, I'll be thinking of you when I have my glass of Christmas.
Thank you.
Just going back to the game this weekend, you spoke a little bit about, you know, trying to find that sort of game-winning plan, and I'm sure you've faced this kind of game many times before when you're playing in a managerial career already, but when you go into a game against Celtic and the form that they're in at the moment, how difficult is it to find that balance in the game plan where you try to stifle what they can do but also allow yourself to use your attacking outlets as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been there as a player, over the years and as a manager, where, every time you play against Celtic, certainly at the clubs that I've been at, I've always been an underdog, never been given much of a chance prior to the game, and on the odd occasion, you cause an upset. And, that's what we have to believe we're capable of doing. I think Celtic, when you analyse them as a team, and we've worked extremely hard on it over the last week. We've watched them against every team in the country. We've watched them on the European stage as well to see and try and pick up ideas of how other teams get success against them. But the challenge is that they can hurt you in so many different ways. If you sit off them, then they can play killer passes and penetrate. If you come and try and lock on and be aggressive and press them high up the pitch, then they can exploit the space behind with the pace that they've got in the forward areas. So, as I said to a previous question, to get a result against Celtic, everything needs to click into place for us on the day. We need to have a really good defensive structure. The discipline and the concentration within that needs to be top. Your goalkeeper's going to have to make some saves, and then when we get the opportunity to play, we have to exploit certain areas that we think are there for us, and be clinical when you get those 3 or 4 opportunities. That's the challenge that every team in the land has faced up to now. But I always believe that we're capable of doing something positive regardless of the opposition, and so do the rest of the group. And obviously, time will tell on Sunday.
And just finally, you mentioned there obviously taking those chances, and you've spoken about a lot. Sam Dalby now sitting at the top of the league's top scorers list, and with his form, continuing another 2 goals at the weekend. That must give you confidence that when you've got someone in the form that he's in, if chances do come, you can convert.
Well, definitely, yeah. I mean, Sam is having a great season up to now. We don't want to put too much weight on his shoulders. We want to try and spread the goals around the squad at the same time. But he's proven invaluable to us in recent weeks. With his goal return, and I believe there's more to come from Sam as well. And the likes of Sam Dalby and the other loan players and all of the new signings that we brought to the club in the summer, it's for games like this that they've came to play in the Scottish Premiership, to test themselves against really top opposition. And, you find out a lot about yourselves in these moments. So I believe in the group. I think if we get things right on the day, then we'll give ourselves a great chance of coming away with something. It's going to be extremely difficult, but, it's happened in the past, and why can't it happen again?